Welcome back. Well, the central bank's action against Paytm has led to a sharp fall in the stock price. But it was not a straight fall, and all distress is not the same. Nimesh has got some interesting data. He's hopped across to the wall to tell us more. Nimesh, take it away.
Well, Nigel, the big newsmaker of the week was Paytm, right on the back of that RBL action. And we saw huge volatility in the stock price as well. Now, the key question is this the right time to buy or an avoid? Let's not get into that. But I've just looked at the history on what the RBL action means for the large corporates or the large companies which have not complied with the regulators. So let's look at let's start with Paytm first. What we saw from an IPO price, the stock is down almost 80% 81% to be precise. Today, actually, this week, the stock hit a low of 395, and I've seen a bit of a pullback from that. But that's the very limited history that we have after the RBI action which happened earlier this week. Now, look, yesterday RBI governor spoke on Paytm, deputy governor spoke as well, and the governor was very clear in his message that if everything has been compliant with, why should we act? They take restrictions when the engagement doesn't work with the corrective actions not taken. So there has been serious lapses, is what been the key reason why RBI had to take the action which it took on Paytm. But if you look at the history of such actions by the RBI on various companies, that will show you a different picture. I'll start with Dewan Housing first. Look at the Dewan Housing chart. From a high of 679, the stock had collapsed almost 97%, and eventually it got merged into Piramal. So it got stopped trading in 2021 after it got merged into Piramal Enterprises. So that's been the history for Dewan Housing. We saw, and there was a multiple volatility as well in this particular stock. That's one example. Now look at RBL Bank. If you look at RBL Bank, the peak price was 701 way back in 2019. From there, we've seen a lot of bouts of volatility in that stock price. It hit a low of almost 77 in 2022. This is when RBI finally took an action. They got the board change. They got a new CEO as well. RBI representative came in. And after that, we saw a big recovery in that stock price in 2024. So that's been the history of RBL Bank. Now look at Yes Bank as well. Even if you look at Yes Bank, the high of almost 400, which was in 2018, that stock had seen a 98% correction from the top, hit a low of almost 11 rupees in 2021. Again, this is where the RBI action came in, right? They got the PSU banks and private banks to come in, take over Yes Bank. And from there, after they got a new CEO, this is how the stock rally has been. So the key question is, what is the key message from the history on what the regulator action takes? Whenever there is an RBI action, the stock has seen there's a lot of volatility. The stock corrects a lot. It does recover and see some pullbacks as well. But the end game has been pretty worse for many of these companies. Also, if you look at some other companies, again, when I show those charts, when the stocks have bottomed, it's largely been bottomed when there has been some action change in terms of ownership or in terms of the change of board. So clearly, history suggests that when there are large RBI actions, one need to be very careful. The stock price will see some pullbacks, but the end game for many of the stocks have been very bad and only improved when there has been a change of guard.
All right.